In the beginning was the Word, and in every beginning still, the Word remains the hidden key. Every thought, unspoken, is a seed in darkness, waiting for breath. But once uttered, once carried upon the quiet air, it awakens the fields of the unseen. Words are not mere sounds. They are vibrations that stir the soil of reality. Each word you speak is a command sent to the invisible gardeners of your destiny. If you speak with fear, the harvest will tremble. If you speak with faith, gold will blossom at your feet. There is a secret rhythm beneath all speech, a spiritual pulse that connects your voice to creation itself. When one speaks from the heart of knowing, not hoping but knowing, the very atoms of the world rearrange themselves to obey that tone. Every declaration is a seed sent forward in time, destined to bloom in your outer life. You have spoken your present into being, for nothing stands before you that was not once a phrase, a belief, a quiet sentence murmured in thought or aloud. To understand the law of spoken seed is to understand that you are both gardener and ground. You sow through speech and reap through experience. Every word sown in irritation, in doubt, in complaint, is a thorned seed that grows swiftly and returns pain. Every word uttered in gratitude, certainty, and divine order becomes a flowering vine of abundance. Many call their lives unlucky, but their misfortune is simply their harvest. Words planted carelessly, seeds never blessed, fields never cleared of weeds. There is power in gentleness. The word that flows softly from peace carries more force than the cry of fear. When you speak, imagine your breath filled with light. Picture your words like shimmering grains of gold released into the ethers. They do not vanish. They begin to circle, to gather form, to attract substance. The unseen responds faster to a word of love than to a scream of demand. Prosperity listens only to harmony. Every garden requires faith in unseen growth. The sower does not dig up the seed each morning to check if it has sprouted. He trusts the soil, the sun, and the rhythm of time. So too must you trust your spoken word. The moment you declare abundance, life begins to stir beneath the surface. The delay is only the grace of perfect timing. But if you rush to doubt, if you contradict your seed with words of lack or complaint, you uproot what was about to flower. Therefore, guard the gateway of your tongue, as you would guard a sacred temple. Let no word of defeat pass its threshold. Each time you speak of failure, you invite it to dwell with you. Each time you repeat that money is scarce, you command scarcity to remain. Speak as the Creator speaks, not as the beggar but as the master of harvest. Say, my fields are full, even if the soil looks barren, for your faith is the rain that brings forth hidden life. The law of spoken seed knows no neutral ground. Every utterance carries charge. The universe does not sleep through your idle words. It records and responds. To joke about poverty is to plant its image. To lament about bills is to feed them power. The wise one learns the language of blessing. They speak life into their affairs, harmony into their dealings, and gratitude into their days. They understand that silence itself is fertile. Therefore they do not waste speech, but consecrate it. Consider the vibration of names. When you say your own name, say it with honor, for it is a sound signature upon which your reality is written. Whisper it with light. I am a child of wealth. I am one with infinite supply. The moment you say it, the ethers take note. The divine substance begins its invisible movement toward you. The very molecules of air become your messengers, carrying your decree through all dimensions of matter. In the quiet hours, when the world sleeps, speak softly to the unseen. Speak as though you are planting rows of invisible gardens beneath the stars. Say, I now sow words of gold, and golden harvests shall follow. Feel the joy of planting. Feel the certainty that the seed will find its soil, that the soil will find its sun. Speak as the morning speaks to the dawn, full of expectation, not of proof but of promise. When you understand this law, you will no longer speak carelessly. You will feel the weight of every syllable, yet also the lightness of its magic. You will cease to repeat the world's language of fear and begin to speak in the tongue of creation. Each phrase you release will become a spark in the dark, a flame that calls forth form. Words of wealth will call wealth. Words of peace will invite peace. Words of gratitude will summon grace. Your life is the echo of your declarations. Whatever you send out returns amplified. If you say, "I am always struggling," life will agree and multiply the evidence. But if you say, "I am surrounded by divine provision," that same life will hasten to rearrange itself to match your decree. The universe is obedient. It is not random but responsive. It mirrors speech as water mirrors the face leaning above it. There are those who speak abundance, yet mix it with fear. They say, "I am wealthy," but whisper within, "I hope it happens." The soil cannot understand a divided seed. The harvest is confusion because the speech was uncertain. The law rewards clarity. To say, "I am," with conviction is to sign a sacred contract. The moment you speak, you have written your future. The question is not whether it will come, but when and in what form. Therefore, rehearse in silence before you speak aloud. Let your inner voice be trained to the melody of faith. Speak gently, slowly, as though your words are gold coins falling into the hands of angels. Each sound is a transaction in the unseen marketplace. To speak is to spend energy. To bless is to invest it. The more radiant your speech, the richer your return. Every miracle begins with a word. Even the rain begins with a command from heaven. You too have been given that same authority, but few use it wisely. You have spoken casually and called it conversation. Yet conversation is creation in motion. Begin to speak deliberately. When you wake, declare the order of your day. When you see a need, do not describe it, transform it through your word. Say, "This too is already supplied, and the law must obey." There is no distance between the word and its effect. The instant you speak, forces begin to align. Money, opportunity, favor, they are not entities to be chased, but energies that respond to the tone of your command. When your speech is clear, confident, and peaceful, these energies recognize their master and come swiftly. They are drawn not to desperation, but to dominion. The quiet authority of a word spoken in truth has more power than 1,000 anxious affirmations. So begin now to sow differently. Speak as the earth once did at creation, in fullness, not in fear. Let your language be clean, uncluttered by complaint. Let it carry the fragrance of certainty. Each word is a seed, each sentence a season, each declaration a dawn waiting to rise. And as you speak from the center of faith, know that heaven bends low to listen, and the soil of reality waits, eager to bloom at the sound of your voice. There exists an unseen current that moves through every living soul, a force that bends unseen matter toward the conviction of the heart. This current is belief. Belief is not a thought, nor a wish, but a vibration so steady that the universe itself begins to orbit around it. When belief and word meet, a new reality is born. It is as if the soul breathes into the world saying, "Let there be," and all of existence moves to obey that whisper. When the tongue speaks from the hollow of doubt, the world echoes confusion. When it speaks from the core of faith, even mountains lean to listen. The spoken word carries power only in proportion to the belief that sustains it, for speech without belief is like a lamp without oil. It may shine for a moment, but soon flickers out. Yet when belief fills the vessel, each word becomes a sun. You have seen those who speak endlessly of their dreams, yet never live them. Their words flutter like dry leaves, weightless, without heat. They repeat affirmations as if repeating could summon power, but belief is the living flame behind every syllable. When you speak and know, not hope, not strain, but know, the air around you begins to move differently. People sense it. Circumstances rearrange. Invisible helpers gather. Belief commands where effort fails. Imagine belief as a magnetic field that surrounds you. Every thought is a particle, every word a pulse that charges the field. When belief is steady, strong, and joyous, this field becomes a magnet to all that is its likeness. Money, opportunity, and provision are not drawn to striving, but to certainty. When one truly believes that abundance is natural, that wealth is the reflection of divine harmony, money begins to move of its own accord toward that harmony. The one who believes does not chase. They radiate. They speak with the quiet authority of one who already possesses what others pursue. Their words carry the fragrance of inevitability. When they say, "All that I need comes easily," they are not begging. They are describing a truth already vibrating in the unseen. The universe, hearing such calm certainty, rushes to validate it. It must, for the law of vibration cannot deny its own frequency. Belief does not dwell in the mind alone. It rests deeper, in the silence beneath thoughts. It is born not from repetition, but from revelation. One can repeat words for years and remain unchanged, but a single moment of divine recognition, a flash of absolute conviction, can alter the entire current of a life. This is the secret many seekers miss. The universe does not respond to the volume of your speech, but to the voltage of your belief. If your words are ships, then belief is the wind that carries them. Without wind, they drift. With belief, they cross oceans unseen. Every declaration requires this living breath of faith. Speak from a heart that knows, and all resistance dissolves. Speak from uncertainty, and even angels cannot assist, for your vibration is divided. The law listens not to phrases, but to certainty, wrapped in sound. There is a rhythm to belief. It grows, not from struggle, but from surrender. When you release the effort to make things happen, and rest in the knowing that they already are, belief strengthens. The soil of creation thrives on calm assurance. The anxious sower digs up their seed to check if it grows. The believer waters it and sings. The unseen roots respond to song, not suspicion. The magnet of belief does not repel others' wealth, it multiplies it. When you bless the prosperity of another, your belief widens its orbit. You become a vessel large enough to contain shared abundance. The jealous heart blocks its own current, but the generous heart expands it. Every time you celebrate the success of others, your own magnet grows stronger, because you are aligning with the same frequency of wealth. When belief is pure, words become unnecessary. The silent conviction of your being begins to speak louder than any affirmation. You can walk into a room, say nothing, and yet change the atmosphere. Doors open, not because you ask, but because you believed before you arrived. The vibration precedes the event. The magnet draws what mirrors its confidence. There is no effort in true belief. The lily does not labor to bloom, it trusts the sun. So too should your spirit trusts the law. The more you believe in harmony, the less you struggle. The more you believe in provision, the less you need to seek. The magnetic law is effortless. It does not strain to attract, it simply exists in the frequency that makes attraction inevitable. Doubt, however, is a counter-magnet. It sends mixed signals to the invisible. One moment you draw, the next you repel. You may say money comes easily, but think, how will it? And the magnet fractures. The law of belief does not hear your words, it hears your energy, it hears the song beneath the sentence. If your song trembles, so will your result. If your song is steady, the universe conducts it into form. To strengthen belief, one must return to inner stillness. The noise of the world weakens conviction, but silence restores it. Sit in quiet and remember that abundance is your inheritance, not your pursuit. Let this thought sink from your mind into your marrow. When it settles there, belief becomes automatic, as natural as breath. Every word you speak from that place carries divine authority. Observe how a child believes without question. Tell them that the sun will rise, and they never doubt it. Such purity of acceptance is the essence of belief. When you speak of your own prosperity with that same simplicity, of course I am provided for, the heavens respond instantly. Complexity is the language of fear. Simplicity is the dialect faith. You can test this law. At any moment, declare something small, yet specific. Perhaps, I am now guided to new opportunities, or unexpected money is finding me now. Then release it. Do not chase the outcome. Go about your day with calm anticipation. Soon, a sign will appear. A conversation, an idea, an open door, not by effort but by alignment. The magnet of belief has moved unseen forces into motion. Each time you witness proof, belief deepens. The magnet strengthens with evidence. Just as a current grows with flow, eventually your entire being hums with certainty. You will no longer question whether the law works. You will know that it could never fail. The same energy that moves stars now moves your affairs. You have entered harmony with the pulse of creation itself. Belief is the golden thread that connects speech to substance. Without it, words dissolve into air. With it, they sculpt reality. Every time you speak from conviction, invisible matter arranges into new form. It may begin as a thought in another's mind, a coincidence, a meeting, a letter, but it is always the same law unfolding. Belief is the unseen artist shaping your visible world. You do not have to force belief. You only need to choose it. Each morning, decide that the unseen is working for you. Decide that wealth is natural, that blessings pursue you. Each decision aligns your frequency higher until it becomes your resting tone. And when your resting tone is abundance, all that vibrates at that tone begins to move toward you, gently, persistently, as if the whole world were enchanted by your certainty. Thus, the magnet of belief turns every word into command, every command into form, every form into living proof that faith spoken aloud is never lost to the wind, but carried by it, drawn toward you on the wings of divine fulfillment. There comes a moment in every life when the spirit grows weary of struggle, when one looks around and sees only the evidence of lack, unpaid bills, unmet desires, unspoken fears, and believes that this is all there is. Yet this very recognition is not defeat. It is the threshold, for when the soul tires of repeating the same song of want, it begins to remember the power of silence. The silent reversal begins not in noise, not in battle, but in the quiet turning of the heart toward truth. Lack is not real. It is a shadow cast by words unguarded. Poverty is not a condition of the world, but an echo of the thoughts man repeats without noticing. Every complaint, every word of worry, is a thread in the fabric of limitation. But the moment you choose to fall silent before the language of fear, you begin to unwind the old weaving. The tapestry of lack begins to unravel when you no longer feed it sound. What was held together by repetition collapses when you refuse to name it again. The silent reversal is not denial. It is alignment. It does not say, "There is no darkness." It says, "I will no longer empower darkness with my tongue." For the law of life is this: whatever you name, you sustain. Speak of debt, and you water it. Speak of despair, and you prolong it. But fall silent before it, and its roots begin to dry. Refuse to feed it words, and it loses the breath that kept it alive. This is why silence is sacred. It is the field where the old harvest ends, and the new seed waits to be sown. Many imagine that to be prosperous is to strive, to declare louder, to force words into the world. But the great reversal begins in stillness. The rich soul does not shout abundance, it breathes it. It does not argue with appearances, it outlives them. When you fall quiet within, when you cease to argue for your limitations, the tide begins to turn. What you once chased now turns, and begins to follow you, drawn by the still gravity of your peace. This is the paradox of the law. The louder you insist on lack, the more it listens. The more you speak of problems, the deeper their roots go. But when you stop speaking their name, They wither in confusion. They cannot survive unacknowledged. The silent reversal is the art of turning your words into instruments of liberation. You do not curse your difficulties, nor do you describe them endlessly. You simply stop giving them the breath of your attention. What you ignore in truth cannot remain. There is a sacred economy to speech. Every word carries an energy cost. When you spend your words on complaint, you exhaust your spiritual wealth. When you spend them on blessing, your supply multiplies. Silence is the divine savings account. It gathers power for the right moment. It restores the current of creation so that when you finally do speak, your words are charged with the full energy of truth. The silent reversal is therefore not the absence of expression, it is the gathering of authority. Imagine a pond disturbed by constant ripples, each ripple a fear, a doubt, a worry spoken aloud. The reflection of the sky above cannot appear clearly until the surface is still. Likewise, your reality cannot reflect divine order until your speech grows calm. Silence clears the water. It allows the higher image to reveal itself. And when it does, your words become mirrors of heaven rather than echoes of fear. The silent reversal begins the moment you decide to no longer describe what you dislike. It may feel unnatural at first, for the world has taught you to discuss problems as proof of awareness. Yet, the universe does not reward analysis, it rewards alignment. Each time you withhold a complaint, you plant a seed of faith. Each time you resist the urge to explain why you cannot, you draw nearer to the realm of those who simply do. To reverse the spell of lack, one must unlearn the language of defeat. Words like I can't, I never, it's hard, are chains disguised as conversation. Replace them with silence first, not forced positivity, not hollow affirmations, but quiet trust. Sit in the emptiness between words, and there you will feel the pulse of abundance. For abundance was never gone, it was merely drowned beneath the noise of doubt. In the stillness of the silent reversal, divine guidance begins to whisper. Solutions arrive, not through reasoning, but through resonance. The mind stills, and the heart begins to speak. You will sense where to go, whom to call, what step to take. The path unfolds softly, without struggle. The current that once flowed against you begins to flow in your favor. You have reversed polarity, from resistance to receptivity, from demand to allowance. Do not confuse silence with passivity. To be silent is not to surrender to despair, but to anchor in faith so deep it needs no defense. Silence declares, I trust the law. It says, I no longer chase, for all that is mine already knows the way to me. This kind of silence is radiant. It hums with invisible confidence. It bends the world around it without a single spoken word. Observe nature, and you will see this law everywhere. The seed does not shout its intention to become a tree. It rests in the dark and lets life unfold through it. The tide does not argue its return. It withdraws quietly, only to come back stronger. Every reversal of nature begins in pause, in quiet rhythm. So it is with the soul. When you cease to speak of want, the natural wealth of being returns of itself. Those who live by this law speak rarely, but powerfully. When they open their mouths, every phrase carries weight, for it was forged in silence. Their words do not describe, they decree. They do not narrate their troubles. They create new order. They understand that speech is not for explaining the old, but for commanding the new. The silent reversal has taught them restraint, and through restraint, mastery. To practice this law, begin with awareness. Notice each time you speak of lack, of delay, of disappointment. Catch yourself gently, and replace the words with breath. Breathe instead of complain. Pause instead of repeat. Each pause is a prayer. Each withheld complaint is a reversal in motion. Slowly, your inner world will grow quiet, and in that quiet, abundance will find its echo. Even in conversation, practice sacred discretion. You need not share every worry with others, for words multiply through agreement. When two speak fear, it becomes stronger. When one remains silent, the power of that fear weakens. You will soon find that silence protects you, like a cloak of invisibility against negativity. It is not withdrawal, it is shielding. Through the silent reversal, you become the calm center of every storm. Others may panic, but your silence steadies them. Money, sensing your serenity, begins to move toward you. Opportunities, recognizing your quiet strength, arrive unannounced. You no longer need to shout your worth, for the silence itself proclaims it. Prosperity does not resist the one who speaks little, but believes much. As you live this truth, you will notice a change in the atmosphere around you. Conversations that once drained you will fall away. People will begin to mirror your peace. The air will seem lighter, events smoother, timing more precise. This is the reflection of your internal stillness. You have reversed the current. The energy that once scattered now gathers, magnetized by your quiet focus. And in the most subtle of ways, the outer world will begin to respond. The bill once delayed is suddenly paid. The door once closed quietly opens. The opportunity once hidden makes itself known. You will realize that the universe was never withholding. It was simply waiting for you to stop contradicting your blessings with careless speech. When your words fall silent, heaven has room to answer. The silent reversal teaches that miracles are born in the pause between thoughts, in the breath before the next word. It is there, in that sacred stillness, that the power of creation hides, waiting for you to cease resisting it. You will come to see that every reversal begins not by doing, not by demanding, but by the holy act of quiet recognition, the moment when you no longer name lack, and in doing so, invite abundance to remember your name. Every sound that leaves your lips continues to move long after you have forgotten it. Words do not die, they travel. They ripple through the unseen realms, touching matter, stirring energy, shaping events. The universe is not silent, it is a choir of echoes. Every phrase you speak sends forth a vibration that circles the infinite and returns multiplied to its source. You are never simply talking, you are composing your future in sound. The echo of abundance begins with recognition that all creation is made of vibration, and that speech is the finest thread of that cosmic weave. When you say, "I am blessed," you release a melody into the ethers. That melody travels through the corridors of spirit and returns as evidence, a meeting, a letter, a door that opens, a gift that arrives. You may not connect the two, for the echo often returns disguised in time, but the law never fails. What you send out must return. The mind of man forgets, but the universe remembers every word. It carries each utterance in the currents of energy that flow between thought and manifestation. Every time you complain, you summon its likeness. Every time you praise, you summon more to praise. The echo of abundance is impartial. It mirrors your tone, not your desire. If you speak of need, the echo repeats, need. If you speak of supply, it repeats, supply. The universe answers only to vibration, not to circumstance. Many pray for wealth, yet speak of poverty all day. They do not hear how their words undo their prayers. Each sigh of worry, each sentence of lack, sends another wave into motion, and that wave cannot return empty. It must find something in form that resembles the sound that birthed it. Thus, when one says, "I can't afford it," the universe, hearing that declaration, says, "Very well," and arranges life accordingly. The echo obeys the original sound without question. To speak abundance is to align with the rhythm of creation itself. The infinite speaks only in fullness. When the morning breaks, it does not whisper, "Perhaps there will be light," it declares, "Let there be." And there is. That same command dwells within you. Each phrase spoken from your center is a decree to the invisible. If you speak as the Creator speaks, calmly, certainly, joyfully, The echo that returns will be rich with gold and peace. The secret is not to strain, but to harmonize. The echo cannot be bribed or forced. It can only be matched. You cannot shout for abundance while vibrating with fear. You must become the sound you wish to hear. If your speech carries faith, faith returns. If it carries gratitude, gratitude echoes back. As multiplied blessing, every word is a note in the grand symphony of life, and your tone determines what kind of music plays around you. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast canyon. You call out, "Love," and after a moment, the canyon answers, "Love." Again, that is how the universe works. It does not invent a new song, it reflects yours. If you cry out fear, it will return fear. If you whisper abundance, it will return abundance. The echo cannot change your note. It can only return it magnified. Therefore, speak carefully, for your world is listening. The wise one learns to speak only what they wish to hear returned. They do not speak of sickness, for they desire health's echo. They do not speak of loss, for they desire gain's return. Even when appearances contradict their words, they remain faithful to the higher sound. They know that the echo is not instant. It must travel through the unseen before it reappears in form. Impatience is the enemy of this law. If you call out and run away before the echo returns, you may never recognize that it was coming all along. The echo of abundance grows stronger with consistency. Each repeated word builds resonance. When you continuously speak of wealth, gratitude, and divine order, you carve a new pattern into the field of reality. The echo begins to amplify until the sound becomes constant, until life itself hums with the vibration of plenty. It is not about a single declaration, it is about the steady rhythm of harmony. You must become a tuning fork of prosperity, sounding the same note until the universe sings along. There is beauty in restraint. Not every thought deserves expression, for every expression becomes a vibration. The careless talker scatters echoes in every direction and wonders why their life feels chaotic. The disciplined soul speaks sparingly, but with precision. Each phrase is intentional, each tone imbued with calm conviction. When such a one speaks, the echo returns swiftly, for the universe recognizes the authority of clear sound. Even silence can carry abundance when it is filled with peace. The pause between words is part of the music. The stillness between affirmations allows the echo to breathe and gather strength. If you speak constantly without listening, you will not hear the returning sound. Learn to pause, to listen inwardly for the subtle confirmation that the universe is already replying. The echo is always present. It hums beneath every event, every encounter, every coincidence. To train the tongue is to train destiny. Speak softly of good, even when you cannot see it. Speak blessings into what appears broken. Say, "This too is working for my increase." Say, "Divine order is unfolding here." Such words travel far, carrying the fragrance of trust. And when they return, they bring peace where chaos once reigned. The echo of abundance transforms environments because it vibrates higher than fear. Fear scatters, faith gathers, gratitude expands, complaint contracts. There is a sacred humility in realizing that you are always being answered. Nothing you speak goes unheard. The air around you is a living listener. The walls of your home, the trees outside your window, the very particles of light, all hold memory. They absorb the tone of your speech and reflect it back as condition and experience. When you begin to speak only beauty, your surroundings will bloom to match it. Even the smallest word has creative power. A passing remark about always struggling becomes a spell. A simple "I am provided for" becomes a key that unlocks flow. The echo does not measure importance, it measures vibration. A whisper of gratitude carries more weight than a sermon of fear. The law is subtle, but exacting. You are heard not by volume, but by purity of tone. Let your language be luminous. Let every conversation become a prayer of prosperity. Replace I can't with I can and I will. Replace it's too late with all unfolds in perfect time. Replace nothing ever works with everything works for my highest good. Speak as if heaven itself is your witness, for it is the echo listens at all hours. Every word becomes a seed sound planted in eternity. When you awaken each morning, begin your day by sending forth the vibration you wish to live in. Say, today, I am the echo of abundance itself. Feel the truth of it. Let your voice carry that resonance. Then watch as the world arranges itself to meet your tone. The people you meet, the messages you receive, the chance encounters, all are notes returning to you from the song you began at dawn. You will soon notice that those who speak constantly of struggle live within it, and those who speak gently of grace live surrounded by it. The law plays no favorites. It simply amplifies whatever melody it hears most clearly. If you wish for a new reality, change the song, sing a higher tune, and the echo will transform the landscape around you. The echo of abundance does not rest in time. Even words spoken long ago still circle in the unseen, seeking their return. You can cancel them, not by fear, but by new sound. Speak forgiveness over the past. Say every word of lack I once uttered is now dissolved in the light of truth. This new declaration sends out a cleansing wave that rewrites the vibration of your history. The echo will adjust itself to your present harmony. The law is perfect, and its mercy is infinite. No wrong word is beyond redemption. The moment you begin to speak in faith again, the sound of abundance overtakes the noise of fear. It is like a choir singing over a whisper. The higher tone prevails. Life will always follow the loudest, clearest vibration. Speak as one who knows that every syllable is a brushstroke, painting tomorrow's scene, and the canvas will reflect your mastery. Thus, every word becomes sacred, every breath creative. To live in awareness of the echo is to live as co-creator with the infinite. Speak of wealth, and wealth will reply. Speak of beauty, and beauty will bloom around you. Speak of peace, and peace will rise from the dust. For the universe is nothing but your echo, an endless mirror, returning to you the music you have chosen to send into its silence. There is a hidden reversal in the nature of wealth, a mystery that few discover until exhaustion teaches them. It is this: abundance does not belong to the one who chases it, but to the one who stands still in the knowing that it is already his. Money, when pursued from desperation, flees like a shadow before light. But when one turns inward and speaks from the stillness of power, it begins to follow. The law is clear. What you chase, you declare absent. What you affirm as present, you draw near. In the chase, the spirit grows weary. The hands clutch, the voice trembles, the breath shortens. One begins to speak from fear rather than from faith. I must make more. I must find more. I must not lose what I have. These are the cries of one who has forgotten the divine order of supply. For true supply is not hunted, it is magnetized. It belongs to the vibration of sufficiency, not the struggle of desire. Every form of abundance has its rhythm. It moves toward calm hearts and retreats from anxious ones. Like a bird, it alights only upon the open hand, never upon the fist. The one who knows this law ceases to beg and begins to radiate. They speak words not of pursuit, but of possession. They say, all that I need already knows the path to me. They trust this invisible intelligence more than their own labor. Their speech is not demand but declaration, and the declaration calls forth substance as surely as dawn calls the sun. When you chase money, you affirm its distance. You tell the universe, I am separate from what I seek, and the universe, ever obedient, continues to mirror your statement. It keeps the supply running, but just beyond your grasp. When you rest in the awareness that supply is omnipresent, that you and it are made of the same divine substance, the chase ends. Then the law reverses. What was once running from you begins to circle back, drawn by the gravity of your peace. The chase of supply transforms into the dance of attraction. In this dance, you move not through effort, but through rhythm. Every word you speak becomes a step, every thought a turn. When you say, "I am abundance itself," the music changes. The tempo of your life adjusts to that note. Opportunities begin to appear, not as prizes to be seized, but as invitations already prepared. You no longer beg at the door of prosperity. You stand within its house and call your blessings by name. Money is not your servant, nor your master. It is your mirror. When you stand in confidence, it reflects confidence. When you fear loss, it reflects loss. When you radiate joy in giving, it rushes to return. For energy cannot remain stagnant. The one who understands this law becomes calm in both feast and famine, knowing that neither defines him. He sees money not as something to possess, but as an energy that loves direction. It follows the voice that speaks to it with certainty and peace. To speak to supply is to speak to spirit. When you say, "I am surrounded by provision," you awaken the invisible network that sustains all things. There is no separation between your inner word and outer circumstance. The moment your declaration aligns with faith, matter begins to respond. Doors open without knocking, paths clear without pushing, help arrives without asking. The chase is over, because the vibration has changed, and the vibration is all that ever mattered. Those who live in pursuit speak the language of lack. You can hear it in their words. "I hope it works. I can't risk it. I need more." Each phrase sends a signal of scarcity, and the echo returns accordingly. But the one who has entered the law of supply speaks differently. They say, "There is always enough. Everything comes in perfect time. The universe provides through endless channels." These words are not wishful thinking. They are commands, issued from the throne of consciousness. And the world, hearing its true ruler, obeys. The chase ends where gratitude begins. The thankful heart is a magnet. It multiplies whatever it beholds. When you bless the coin in your hand, it becomes a seed. When you curse it, as small, it withers. Gratitude converts the smallest possession into the vibration of increase. The one who blesses the little finds the greater rushing to meet him. The one who despises the small cannot receive more, for he rejects the very frequency through which wealth travels. There is an invisible dignity in knowing you are already supplied. It is not arrogance, it is divine remembrance. The earth never apologizes for its rivers, nor does the sun beg to shine. They simply express their nature. So too must you. Your true nature is abundance expressing through individuality. Every time you speak words of assurance, "My needs are met. I live in plenty. All flows toward me in right order," you return to your original design. In that remembrance, money becomes not a chase, but a companion walking faithfully beside you. The chase of supply ends when the mind no longer divides the spiritual from the material. There is no sacred and profane. All is one field of energy vibrating at various rates. The same law that brings peace to your heart brings gold to your hand. The same faith that heals the body fills the purse. The one who sees no difference between inner and outer worlds finds that both obey the same command, the command of belief, bepen in calm authority. You must learn to speak as the one pursued, not the pursuer. Say to yourself, "I no longer chase, I attract. I no longer run after money. Money recognizes me." Feel these words until they become real. See in your mind's eye the current of prosperity flowing toward you, streams of income, waves of opportunity, unseen blessings drawn by the magnet of your serenity. Do not ask when or how. The law does not answer questions. It answers vibration. When you release the need to hunt, you discover that everything you sought was already orbiting around your consciousness. Supply is drawn to stillness because stillness signals trust, and trust is the highest frequency of creation. Anxiety closes the gate, assurance opens it. Therefore, whenever fear whispers, respond not with argument, but with a quiet declaration. I am safe in abundance. All that I require is already on its way. Speak it once, and then go about your work in peace. The echo will return as form. To live by this truth is to live in continuous ease. You do not abandon action, you refine it. Your steps become guided rather than frantic. You act when prompted by intuition, not compulsion. You give without calculation, knowing that giving is circulation. You receive without guilt, knowing that reception completes the cycle. In this way, the dance between you and your supply becomes rhythmic and eternal. You are no longer a beggar at life's table, but a host who shares freely from an endless feast. Even those who once doubted will begin to sense the change in your presence. They will see how events arrange themselves for you, how assistance arrives unannounced, how doors seem to open before you knock. They may call it luck, but it is law. The energy of pursuit has been replaced by the energy of possession. You have stopped declaring absence and begun declaring presence. The universe mirrors your tone. What once fled now follows. What once resisted now serves. When you speak from this awareness, even your smallest words carry authority. You no longer plead with life. You instruct it. You say, money, flow here, opportunity, appear, blessing, unfold. And because you speak as one who already has, creation responds with immediacy. The world rearranges itself to match your inner state. This is not magic, it is mastery. The quiet mastery of vibration understood and used rightly. You begin to notice the signs of reversal everywhere. People start offering what you once sought. Invitations arrive from directions you never imagined. A stranger's kindness fulfills a need before you can voice it. The more you rest in certainty, the faster life moves to confirm it. It is as if the universe had been waiting for your stillness all along, holding your blessings in suspension until you stopped chasing them. Thus, the chase of supply reveals itself as illusion. There was never a distance to close, only a consciousness to correct. Supply was never hiding. It was circling, waiting for permission to land, and that permission is spoken in quiet, confident words, not cries of need, but statements of truth. You speak as one who commands without demand, as one who draws without effort, as one who remembers that the source and the supply were never two. Every word you speak, every thought you release, is an offering in the grand temple of creation. The universe is not a marketplace of chance, but a sanctuary of perfect exchange. Nothing leaves your lips without a return. Nothing departs from your heart without echo. To understand the sacred exchange is to see that giving and receiving are not opposites, but reflections of the same eternal breath. When you exhale, the universe inhales. When you speak truth, creation speaks back. The act is mutual, endless, holy. Money, opportunity, relationships, inspiration, all these are but visible forms of the same invisible flow. They respond not to want, but to worthiness, not to begging, but to balance. When you speak in faith, you give to the unseen. When you believe, you deposit power into the great treasury of life. And life, being ever just, must return what you invest. Every word, every feeling, every act of generosity becomes currency. In this divine economy, you are never unpaid, for every vibration you send out is received, multiplied, and returned in kind. The sacred exchange begins with awareness. Each word is a coin stamped with intention. When you speak with fear, you circulate counterfeit energy, and life returns confusion. When you speak with certainty, you release gold. The return may not always come in the form you expect, but it never fails to arrive. The law of exchange is perfect. Its justice is immediate, though invisible. It listens only to the tone of your inner wealth. If your spirit is rich, your returns are rich. If your heart is closed, the current cannot flow. To speak with power is to trade in spirit's own currency. There are those who speak carelessly, throwing words into the world like dust. They wonder why their lives return fragments instead of fullness. Yet there are others whose words are few but sacred. Each utterance is measured. Each sentence carries faith. These are the true merchants of light. They understand that speech is the highest form of transaction. When they say, "All that is mine by divine right now comes to me," they have made a purchase in heaven, and heaven delivers without error. The sacred exchange thrives on clarity. You must know what you are sending forth. Confused speech brings confused results. When you say, "I want wealth but I'm afraid of greed," the universe receives two opposing orders. The law cannot fulfill contradiction. To receive richly, you must give clearly. Give words of gratitude, not grievance. Give thoughts of certainty, not conflict. Each vibration sent in faith becomes an investment that no force can destroy. You live in a boundless economy where the only price is belief. Faith is the coin, gratitude the mint, and love the market in which all values are set. The beggar and the millionaire use the same law, though one applies it in fear and the other in assurance. The beggar prays for pennies, the master thanks for plenty. The exchange answers both equally, for the universe mirrors what it receives. It is not partial, it is precise. The sacred exchange also governs giving in material form. To give from fear of lack is not giving, but losing. To give from joy is to multiply. Every coin released in love becomes a seed. Every act of generosity, when done without thought of return, increases your own supply, for the universe cannot send abundance through closed hands. When you release freely, you prove your trust in the law, and the law rushes to honor that trust. There is no vacuum in creation. Every empty hand is soon filled again. Words are the first form of giving. When you bless another, you plant wealth in your own garden. When you speak well of your work, your health, your home, you are making deposits into your own future. The moment you curse or complain, you withdraw from that account. The wise one guards their speech as a banker guards gold. They know that each phrase carries interest, either in joy or in sorrow. To speak kindly is to lend grace to the world. To speak negatively is to incur debt. The sacred exchange is always immediate, though you may not see it. A kind word today may return a year later as unexpected help. A moment of gratitude may reappear as prosperity in disguise. The form shifts, but the energy remains exact. The invisible keeps perfect records. The universe forgets nothing, but it forgives through transformation. When you change your tone, you change your transaction. In every conversation, you are either enriching or depleting your account in the invisible bank of life. Speak abundance, and you will find abundance seeking you. Speak fear, and scarcity will echo back. The law has no morality. It only has accuracy. You cannot deceive it, for it deals only in vibration. The universe measures not your words, but your frequency. If you say, "I am prosperous," but feel unworthy, the vibration of lack is the one exchanged. The result will match the feeling, not the phrase. Therefore, speak from the wealth within. Feel before you declare. Let your words rise from the still assurance that all is already provided. The richest speech is calm, measured, and filled with certainty. Such words ripple through the ethers like golden coins tossed into clear water. Each one sends out concentric circles of blessing that eventually return as form. Opportunities, friendship, success, ease. You do not need to chase the return. The law delivers with perfect precision. In the sacred exchange, even silence has value. To hold your peace when you might have criticized is a form of giving. You have spared another pain, and the universe records it as credit. To refrain from fear, to choose calm when worry beckons, is to invest in invisible strength. Every choice toward harmony adds to your spiritual account. The unseen keeps balance perfectly, Every act, every thought, every word, every pause. You are always trading energy, even in the smallest gestures. A smile is a coin of light. A sigh of impatience is a withdrawal of power. To speak with hope is to purchase tomorrow's joy. To speak in despair is to sell your inheritance cheaply. Each moment offers a new chance to exchange darkness for light. When you begin to live consciously in this law, your very presence becomes magnetic. People will feel peace around you. They will not know why, but they will sense that your currency is divine. When you give freely, without counting, you align with the nature of Source itself. The infinite never withholds. The sun does not measure its rays. The ocean does not ration its waves. It gives, because giving is its being. To live in harmony with this flow is to become unbreakable in supply. Whatever you release returns multiplied, for the current cannot stop where it is not resisted. The miser, holding tightly, closes the gate. The giver, releasing, expands the river. The sacred exchange also applies to your inner thoughts. Every meditation of gratitude sends a signal through the spiritual network of life. That signal travels across unseen paths, influencing circumstances and drawing to you all that matches its frequency. You are not an isolated mind, but a broadcasting station in the field of infinite intelligence. Your signal determines your reception. To tune to abundance is to enter the frequency of return. All giving and receiving happen first in consciousness. The external world merely echoes the internal trade. When you affirm, "I am worthy of wealth," you have paid your entrance into its vibration. The return may come through work, inspiration, or chance, but the source remains the same. The physical is the receipt. The spiritual is the transaction. There are no debts in the law, only unbalanced exchanges waiting to complete. What you give will always find its way back to you, though the form may change. If you give love and receive indifference, wait, the balance is still traveling. If you give service and see no reward, wait, the return is forming behind the veil. The universe settles every account in perfect time. No energy is lost, no kindness forgotten. To master the sacred exchange, one must learn the art of joyful release. Give, because it delights you, not because you fear withholding. Speak blessings, not to earn merit, but because truth must be spoken. Share your abundance, because abundance is your nature. In this way, you participate consciously in the divine economy, where giving and receiving are one motion, where every outflow guarantees inflow, and where every spoken word writes your balance in gold upon the eternal ledger of creation. There is a silence deeper than all striving, a stillness that stands untouched by the noise of desire. It is the calm of possession, the quiet knowing that what is yours cannot be taken, that what you seek already lives within the circle of your being. The world calls it confidence, but it is more sacred than that. It is remembrance. The soul, once awakened, no longer begs, it rests, and in its rest, all things move toward it. This calm is not learned through conquest, but through surrender. It arrives when the chase ends, when the heart grows weary of reaching and finally falls into knowing. It is the silence that comes after the storm of want, not the silence of defeat, but of mastery. For in that moment, the seeker becomes the possessor, not by acquiring but by aligning. Possession is not ownership of objects, but union with Source. One cannot truly possess wealth, peace, or love. One can only become the vibration from which they spring. In the calm of possession, you no longer speak as one who waits. Your words are not requests, but acknowledgments. You say, "It is done," and the universe bows to that decree. For the law of creation responds only to certainty. It is moved not by desperation, but by quiet authority. When you speak from calm, your tone carries the signature of completion. The unseen recognizes it instantly and obeys. All delay dissolves. All confusion clears, because peace is the voice of divine assurance. The anxious heart repels what it seeks. Its vibration says, "I do not have," and so the universe echoes back the same. But the calm heart attracts, for it declares silently, I already am. When you sit in still confidence, when you breathe as one who owns the field even before the harvest appears, you are practicing the highest form of faith. The outer world must conform, for the unseen bends to the spirit that knows itself as whole. This calm is not arrogance. It is humility before divine order. The arrogant say, I have made this happen. The calm soul says, it was always mine in essence. The former clings, the latter allows. The difference is subtle, but absolute. One operates through tension, the other through trust. The moment you shift from striving to serenity, life shifts with you. The invisible gears begin to turn. Circumstances align, people appear, and timing becomes effortless. You did not push, you permitted. The calm of possession can be felt before it can be described. It is the state where gratitude replaces demand. You wake and feel richness before the gold arrives, health before the body heals, love before the partner appears. This is not pretense but prophecy. The soul that feels first calls form into being. The vibration of gratitude is the evidence of ownership. It is the spiritual signature that claims your portion of infinite supply. Imagine standing before a mirror. The reflection cannot smile until you smile first. Likewise, the world cannot give until you become the giver in vibration. The calm soul smiles before the reflection appears, knowing the law cannot fail. The anxious soul waits for proof and thus postpones it. The mirror of reality waits patiently for your calm command. When you are calm, you are in rhythm with the universe. The planets do not rush their orbits. The seasons do not struggle to unfold. Everything in divine order moves in quiet certainty. When you match that pace, life begins to unfold without resistance. Opportunities flow toward you, as rivers flow toward the sea. You no longer scramble to find your place. The path finds you. This is the serenity of true possession, to move without fear of loss, because you understand that nothing can leave what belongs to your frequency. Possession is not hoarding, it is inhabiting. It is not clutching at things, but resting in sufficiency. The calm possessor does not measure their wealth by coin or property, but by the still joy that nothing external can shake. When such a one gives, they do not deplete, they circulate. Their giving does not come from guilt, but from overflow. The act of sharing becomes an affirmation of abundance, and every outflow multiplies their inflow. In this sacred calm, your words gain weight. They are no longer scattered pleas but golden decrees. You do not need to repeat endlessly, for one statement spoken from peace carries more force than 1,000 born of fear. The universe listens to vibration, not volume, a single whisper of certainty. All is provided, has the power to move mountains because it contains no doubt. The calm word is complete, and the complete word must manifest. The calm of possession is also the calm of timing. The impatient cry, when? But the knowing heart says, now, for in truth, the moment of declaration and the moment of fulfillment are one. Time is merely the shadow of unfolding, not a barrier. When you hold stillness long enough, you feel that all things already exist in the unseen. You do not summon them. You align with them, and alignment requires nothing but peace. To remain calm amid appearances is to demonstrate mastery. The waves may rise, but the sea beneath them remains still. The master lives from that depth. They watch events unfold, but do not identify with the surface. When money fluctuates, when plans delay, when others panic, the calm possessor rests in the knowing. Divine order is never late. This inner steadiness radiates outward, rearranging the outer world to match its tone. Calm is command. The power of possession lies in speech that reflects completion. You speak not as a petitioner, but as a creator. When you say, I am provided for, you are not hoping, you are announcing. Each calm declaration is a spiritual receipt, proving that the transaction has already occurred in the invisible. The physical must eventually deliver it, for the universe is bound by the law of reflection. You have claimed your inheritance, and the world must acknowledge the claim. To reach this state, the mind must be trained away from reaction. Each time fear rises, answer it with silence. Do not argue. Do not affirm its authority. The storm cannot touch the one who refuses to step into its wind. Withdraw into your inner temple and remember the law. I and my supply are one. Repeat it gently until the tension fades. Then act only from peace. Decisions made in stillness carry the mark of divine precision. The calm of possession also governs relationships. The one who knows their worth does not chase affection. They attract it by their serenity. Others feel the quiet certainty of value and are drawn to it instinctively. The same energy that brings wealth brings love, for both are expressions of recognition. You no longer seek validation when you already know you are complete. This completeness emits an invisible fragrance that draws harmony wherever you go. To live in this calm is to move through life as if surrounded by invisible abundance. You may have little in the hand, but you carry worlds in the spirit. You no longer say, "One day I will have," but "I already am." The distinction changes everything, for the first creates delay, while the second opens immediate access. You begin to see signs of confirmation everywhere. Small gifts, unexpected kindness, perfectly timed opportunities. These are not coincidences, but reflections of your settled vibration. The calm possessor never competes. They know there is no shortage in an infinite universe. Competition belongs to those who believe in separation. The calm belongs to those who remember unity. When you understand that your portion cannot be taken by another, envy dissolves, and the flow increases. You bless others' success, and the blessing returns multiplied. Peace expands because peace is generative. It multiplies what it touches. In the calm of possession, the past loses its grip. Regret fades because you no longer measure what was lost, only what remains eternal. Fear of the future vanishes because you no longer project lack ahead of you. You exist entirely in the fullness of the present moment, and this moment is always enough. From this center, creation becomes effortless. The calm becomes your natural state, your resting frequency, your silent wealth. The world may continue to rush, but you will walk as though surrounded by invisible music. You will see that abundance is not earned, but remembered, that possession is not acquisition, but realization. And from that realization flows every form of prosperity, not because you demanded it, but because you became the calm through which it could finally enter. There is a moment in the stillness of the soul when one feels a vibration rise from deep within, an ancient knowing that every word spoken is more than sound. It is seal and covenant. Each declaration you release bears your divine signature, a mark of ownership upon the invisible substance of creation. The universe does not recognize wealth, beauty, or power until consciousness signs its name upon them. This signature is faith made audible, a sacred imprint that commands form to obey. The divine signature is not written in ink, but in vibration. It is the unseen authority behind your words, the silent power that makes a whisper more potent than a shout. When you speak from the center of truth, your energy leaves a mark upon the field of life, a pattern so exact that the universe must respond. The law of creation does not interpret language as human minds do. It responds only to vibration. A word spoken with divine conviction carries the full weight of heaven's decree. Each thought, each word, each feeling becomes a document of intent signed by your consciousness. To say, "I am," is to set your seal upon reality. When you speak of lack, you have signed a contract with limitation. When you speak of wealth, you have signed one with abundance. The law never judges the content. It merely fulfills the command. The power of your speech lies not in repetition, but in resonance. You need not cry to the heavens for supply. You need only stamp your signature upon the energy of sufficiency, and let the law deliver what you have already claimed. The divine signature cannot be forged. Many speak words of faith yet feel fear behind them, and the universe detects the mismatch. Just as a bank will not honor a false signature, creation will not honor words devoid of belief. The law reads vibration, not vocabulary. You may say, "I am prosperous," 1,000 times, but if the tone beneath is doubt, the decree is unsigned. Only when faith and word meet, as one does the universe move in recognition. Your divine signature was granted before birth. It is the imprint of the infinite upon the finite, the echo of source within human voice. When you remember this, you cease to plead for miracles and begin to authorize them. You speak not as a servant hoping to be heard, but as a creator acknowledging his right. The meekness of fear dissolves, replaced by the serenity of command. The infinite does not need persuasion. It needs permission, and your faith is that permission. The ancients knew this truth. Their prayers were not petitions, but decrees. They spoke to storms, to seas, to sickness, and the elements obeyed. They understood that speech is sacred, that every word carries the breath of divine authority. To them, language was ritual, each syllable a symbol of creation. They knew that when a word is spoken with pure intent, it travels into the invisible as a command sealed with power. That seal is the divine signature, the mark of certainty that no contrary force can erase. This signature is felt rather than seen. It appears in the calm after a true declaration, in the sudden stillness that follows a word spoken from knowing. When you say, "I am abundance," and the heart becomes quiet instead of questioning, that is the sign that your signature has been accepted. Peace is the receipt of creation. The uneasiness of doubt is a signal that the document is unsigned. You may repeat the affirmation, but until belief rests in it, the paper remains blank. Every act of creation is a contract between spirit and form. The signature seals it. When you declare, "My path is guided," you are not hoping, you are authorizing the guidance to manifest. The divine signature is what grants your words the right to become matter. Without it, they are merely ink upon air. With it, they are law in motion. The key is not in force, but in faith. You do not push reality into being, you authenticate it through conviction. Your signature carries power because it is born from oneness. When you speak in harmony with the divine will, all the forces of the cosmos align to support you. The seas part, not because they favor you, but because you speak the same language as their source. The divine signature is not personal authority. It is universal alignment. It is the remembering that you are not separate from the power that creates worlds. You are its voice, and every spoken word bears its seal. To live in awareness of this is to become deliberate in speech. You begin to speak slowly, with reverence. You no longer toss careless words into the air, for you know they do not vanish, they travel. Each one writes itself upon the invisible book of life. Every idle complaint signs a delay. Every word of blessing seals a miracle. When you understand this, silence becomes golden, not from restraint, but from precision. You speak less, but every word becomes sacred currency, each phrase a decree bearing the mark of divine authenticity. When you speak in alignment with truth, your words acquire a life beyond you. They become messengers that go forth to prepare your way. The right people appear, the timing aligns, and coincidences become constant. This is not luck. It is the return of your signature through time and space. The law of correspondence brings your vibration back as experience. What you have signed in faith must eventually appear in form, stamped with your own energy. There is no limit to what the divine signature can authorize. You may sign peace into war, wealth into scarcity, healing into despair. The power lies not in the object, but in the consciousness behind it. The smallest declaration, "All is well, I am supplied, love surrounds me," becomes a cosmic transaction when spoken with belief. Heaven itself recognizes the vibration of certainty. The angels of order move silently to fulfill it. The command travels through unseen channels, adjusting reality with precision beyond human reason. To speak without awareness of your signature is to live unconsciously, to sign contracts with fear, anxiety, and doubt without knowing it. You then wonder why life mirrors chaos. Every word of worry, every thought of "I can't" bears your name in energy. The law delivers faithfully, not cruelly. It cannot choose for you. It can only confirm your choice. The correction begins when you revoke those false signatures by declaring a higher truth. Each time you say, "That was never mine. Only good belongs to me," you dissolve the old decree and replace it with divine order. There is mercy in this law. No word is permanent if followed by awakening. The universe allows amendment, for it knows your authority evolves with awareness. Every time you speak from renewed understanding, your signature changes its frequency. The higher the vibration, the faster the return. As your consciousness expands, the delivery quickens. Manifestation is not reward, but reflection. The speed of return mirrors the purity of belief. The divine signature also governs silence. To refrain from speech when anger stirs is an act of power, not weakness. In that silence, you prevent the signing of a destructive decree. The energy that might have birthed discord is dissolved instead of sealed. This too is mastery. The choice not to inscribe pain upon the field of life. In restraint lies strength. For the unsent word holds energy that can be redirected toward creation. The more you live in awareness of your signature, the more reverent you become toward your inner dialogue. You begin to notice the tone beneath your thoughts, the feeling behind your words. You correct them, not with fear, but with grace. You remind yourself gently, "I am the one who signs every outcome. I choose which documents to send forth." Each day becomes an act of authorship. Each moment, a chance to write beauty into being. When you speak from this place, your life becomes a series of fulfilled decrees. People will marvel at your ease, not realizing that you have learned to sign every word with faith. You do not strive, you authorize. You do not wish, you witness. You move through the world as one who knows that creation listens for your tone. And because your tone is peace, everything that answers carries peace within it. This is the essence of mastery. To realize that you are not merely part of the law, but its expression. The divine signature is not something you earn. It is what you are. To speak is to create, to believe is to seal, to rest in knowing is to receive. And in that quiet understanding, you discover that every spoken truth is already written in eternity, stamped with the light of your consciousness, awaiting only your recognition to appear. There is a holy hush that settles over the soul when you finally realize that every syllable you speak is a seal, every feeling an emblem, every act a stamp pressed into the wax of the invisible. That hush is not silence alone, it is recognition. You begin to see that life is a ledger of decrees authenticated by your inner state, and that reality keeps perfect books. What appears outside is the record of what was signed within. The seal is not wax, and the pen is not ink. The seal is faith and the pen is word. When you speak from knowing, your declaration bears the divine signature, and the universe, reading the mark, moves without hesitation to honor it. To arrive here is to walk the whole circle of wisdom and find each teaching illuminated by a single light. You remember the law of spoken seed and see how the seed takes only the shape of the stamp that presses it into soil. A careless phrase is a crooked seal. A faithful phrase is a royal crest. The field obeys the emblem impressed upon it. You recall the magnet of belief and understand that belief is the heat that sets the wax, the fire that fixes the seal, so no hand can tamper with it. Without belief, the impression smears. With belief, the image is sharp and permanent. You revisit the silent reversal and learn why, at times, the wisest act is to withhold the stamp altogether. Silence keeps you from authorizing what you do not desire. Silence cancels counterfeit orders. then the echo of abundance rings truer than ever. Whatever crest you impress upon the air returns as a banner over your circumstances, the same image sent, now waving in the daylight of form. You see the chase of supply dissolve like mist, because the one who bears the true seal does not chase messengers. He entrusts the sealed decree to them. Supply follows the stamp of authority. It does not run from it. You understand the sacred exchange in its finest detail. Every word is a coin minted with your crest, passing from the treasury of spirit into the marketplace of matter, returning with interest in like design, and you stand within the calm of possession, the serenity of one who signs from a quiet throne rather than a crowded doorway, who authorizes outcomes with the poise of inevitability instead of the tremor of desire. All 7 teachings gather into the 8th, the divine signature, the master key that admits you to your own estate, because the estate was never elsewhere. It was awaiting your seal. Look closely at the way creation responds to a signed decree. A thought only entertained knocks timidly. A word only repeated without conviction writes in chalk. But a decree signed in the chamber of certainty carries the watermark of the infinite. That watermark is peace. After a true decree, a great stillness arrives. Not the stillness of doubt, but of completion. You feel the document slide across the inner desk, hear the soft click of assurance. No trumpet sounds, yet all the trumpets of circumstance will sound in time. The mark has been read. The couriers are already moving. The timing you once tried to manage now manages you with grace, because the signature, not the schedule, is the cause of arrival. You may ask how to sign rightly when the hand still shakes. Return to the law of spoken seed. Do not plant what you cannot bless. Speak only what you can serenely authorize. If the phrase "I am wealth" trembles upon your tongue, go to the furnace of the magnet of belief. Warm the metal of your word in contemplation until it glows with conviction. Whisper the decree in the dark until the heart nods. Then, with that nod, press the seal. If old decrees of fear seem to bind your affairs, enact the silent reversal. Refrain from recounting them. Stop re-stamping the same sorrow. Allow the old wax to cool without your heat. And when the urge to check on the outcome stirs, listen for the echo of abundance. Let the canyon answer. Your work was the sending. The returning is the law's delight. When the world tempts you to chase, remember, the chase of supply, a sealed letter does not run after its recipient. It travels by order, not by begging. Your declaration, rightly signed, has its own feet, its own map, its own protection. Stand still in the address of peace. Give as the sacred exchange teaches, from the crest of plenty, not from the stamp of fear. Every coin released with your luminous emblem returns in unexpected denominations. A timely call, a swift solution, a door that opens with your name already written on the threshold. And keep the posture of the calm of possession. The calm is not performance, it is provenance. It proves where your decree originated, from the house of sufficiency, not the market of panic. There is craft in this sacred signing. The artisan of spirit chooses materials with care. The matrix is your identity. I am is the intaglio, into which every phrase is poured. The wax is your feeling tone, warm with faith, pliable with trust, unstiff with anxiety. The die is the phrase itself, clean, simple, princely, not crowded with many words that blur the image. The press is your attention, steady, even, held long enough for the impression to take. Lift too soon, and you smear the crest. Press with strain, and you crack the seal. Hold with ease, and the image shines. Now the letter of your life carries a crest the world cannot counterfeit, and all offices of heaven route it to its appointed destination. Practice leaves marks upon the soul that the eye cannot see, but the world cannot ignore. Begin at dawn, when the wax of feeling is softest. Sake a single sovereign line, one that your heart can sign without argument. Order governs my day, or provision precedes my step, or I am the secure channel of overflowing good. Wait for the watermark of peace to rise through the paper of your awareness. If it does not, refine the phrase, reduce it until only essence remains. Too many words make muddy seals. A few clean words carry kingship. Throughout the day, resist the habit of issuing low decrees, those quick mutterings that authorize small thefts of joy. It's hard. I'm late. It never works. Such slips are still signatures, and the law honors even careless scribbles. Better to be silent than to sign what you would not receive. When old documents surface, memories stamped with sorrow, forecasts drafted by fear, do not fight them. Lay the new decree over them, like fresh parchment. Sign the higher writ, and the lesser becomes moot by jurisdiction. This is the mercy hidden in the law. The latest valid signature supersedes the expired. You are never trapped in an old covenant with lack, if you refuse to renew it with current speech. The court of the infinite sits continuously. Appeal is always in session. A single line signed in living faith annuls a library of dusty agreements with limitation. You will notice a soft change in the way people address you, as if they are reading something upon your countenance they cannot name. The seal shines, though not to human eyesight. It appears in your cadence, your gaze, the unhurried manner with which you answer questions that once rattled you. Invitations arrive without noise. Timing arranges itself like a procession that knew your date long before you said it. Even your refusals are crowned with favor, for a signed soul need not grasp at every open door. It chooses with the quiet of one who knows the estate is large and the paths are many. There is a temptation to measure the power of the seal by the speed of visible result. Resist it. The measure is the peace that follows the signing. The echo will return at the appointed moment. Do not pry up the wax to see if the impression held. Keep your desk in order. Issue decrees only when your heart is rested. Do the next practical thing with dignity. This is not passivity, it is governance. The king does not pace the ramparts to hurry the messengers. He tends the kingdom already in hand, while his word completes its circuit. If, at times, the hand falters, and you sign a lesser decree, do not condemn yourself. Take up the die again. Heat the wax of feeling with gratitude. Remember how the law of spoken seed taught you to bless the field, how the magnet of belief taught you to steady the flame, how the silent reversal taught you to pause, how the echo of abundance taught you to listen, how the chase of supply taught you to stand still, how the sacred exchange taught you to give richly, how the calm of possession taught you to breathe as one already home. Then press the crest of the divine signature once more, cleanly, serenely, sovereignly, upon the matter at hand. Let your house become a scriptorium. Place phrases where the eye rests, not to plead with life, but to remind the hand of its authority. By the doorway, peace enters before me. Near the table, there is always enough at the bedside. I sleep in unfailing care. Let your conversations be documents of grace. When another brings you a tale unsigned by hope, listen with compassion, then lend them your seal by the words you choose. There is a way prepared. Help is already in motion. What is yours has not passed you. In time, the very atmosphere around you takes on the scent of a royal archive. Shelves lined with fulfilled decrees, the air warmed by the steady fire of belief that never needs to blaze to prove it is real. And should you wonder, in some nocturne hour, whether this sacred authorship is permitted to one as ordinary as yourself, look inward to the mark you did not place and cannot erase. It is the original crest, the imprint of source upon your being, granted without price and without end. It is why your quiet I am shakes the corridors of circumstance more surely than a crowd's clamor. It is why money, opportunity, health, and help come when called in the true tone, not as favors to a petitioner, but as obediences to a sovereign voice that finally remembered its right to sign.